A broken rib in Viking Scandinavia didn't heal because of herbs. It healed because the alternative was dying slowly while becoming a burden. Pain wasn't the problem. Infection was. Blood loss was. Immobility was. Pain was just information, and if you couldn't process that information correctly, your body made the decision for you. This is not about Viking toughness or warrior mythology. This is about a medical system built by people who understood one principle. The body heals itself or it doesn't. Their job wasn't to fix injuries. It was to not interfere with healing while maintaining function. No hospitals, no antibiotics, no surgical steel. Just methods calibrated to keep someone alive long enough for tissue to regenerate. They didn't have better pain tolerance. They had better systems for managing the consequences of injury when medical intervention was impossible. Northern Scandinavia in winter was a surgical environment in reverse. Temperatures stayed below freezing for months. Infection risk dropped, but so did mobility. A torn muscle that would heal in weeks during summer could cripple someone for an entire season in winter. Blood clotted slower in cold. Immune response weakened. Caloric demand increased exactly when movement became dangerous. The environment didn't care if you were injured. It only responded to whether you could still generate heat, acquire food, and avoid additional damage. An injury wasn't measured by pain level. It was measured by whether you could still perform the tasks that kept you from freezing or starving. The human body's pain response is designed for acute threats, not chronic survival. Modern humans experience pain and immediately seek elimination. Medication, rest, medical intervention. Remove those options and the system reveals its flaws. Pain creates muscle tension, which restricts blood flow, which slows healing. Pain disrupts sleep, which compromises immune function. Pain demands attention, which draws cognitive resources away from survival tasks. The modern approach, isolate the injured, provide comfort, eliminate sensation, was impossible in Viking society. You couldn't stop working. You couldn't lie still for weeks. You couldn't offload your responsibilities. So the body's natural pain response became a liability. It had to be managed, not obeyed. Vikings didn't have higher pain thresholds. They had systems that prevented pain from creating secondary failures. The problem: injury triggers inflammation. Inflammation causes pain and swelling. Swelling restricts movement. Restricted movement leads to muscle atrophy and joint stiffness. In a survival environment, immobility kills. Not from the injury, from the inability to maintain heat, acquire food, or defend position. The Viking solution: Vikings didn't treat pain. They treated immobility. Their first principle was controlled movement during healing, not rest. Movement calibrated to maintain function without reopening wounds. A torn shoulder still lifted, but it reduced load. A damaged leg still walked, but with support. The goal wasn't comfort. It was preventing the injury from compounding into disability. Their second principle was heat application through sustained low-intensity activity, not external heat, internal heat generated through movement. This maintained blood flow to injured areas without the inflammation spike caused by sudden exertion. Circulation delivered nutrients and removed metabolic waste. The body healed faster when it stayed warm from the inside. Third, plant-based compounds, but not as painkillers. Willow bark, meadowsweet. These weren't for comfort. They reduced inflammation, which reduced secondary tissue damage. Vikings understood empirically what we now know chemically. Uncontrolled inflammation destroys healthy tissue around the injury site. Managing inflammation meant smaller wounds, faster healing, less permanent damage. Why it works: movement prevents muscle atrophy and maintains joint mobility. Controlled activity sustains circulation without triggering cortisol spikes that suppress immune function. Anti-inflammatory compounds reduce collateral damage to surrounding tissue. The system doesn't eliminate pain. It eliminates the conditions that make pain worse and healing slower. Why we lost this knowledge: modern medicine replaced movement with rest, internal heat with external heat, and inflammation management with complete pain elimination. We optimized for comfort during healing, not for maintaining function. The result: faster recovery in ideal conditions, complete collapse when those conditions disappear. The real technology wasn't botanical knowledge. It was behavioral architecture. Vikings embedded injury management into daily routine so it required no additional decision-making. Morning tasks were designed to mobilize joints before stiffness set in. Heavy labor was distributed across multiple people. allowing injured members to participate at reduced intensity. Meal timing aligned with inflammation cycles. Anti-inflammatory compounds consumed before sleep. Caloric density front-loaded to morning when metabolic demand peaked. None of this required expertise. It required systems that assumed injury as default, not exception. The infrastructure of daily life was built to accommodate healing without stopping productivity. Pain creates psychological collapse faster than physical collapse. Chronic pain depletes willpower. It narrows focus. It triggers learned helplessness. Vikings countered this through enforced participation. Injured members weren't isolated. They remained embedded in community tasks, even at minimal capacity. This wasn't kindness, it was survival psychology. Isolation amplifies pain perception. Social engagement provides distraction and maintains identity beyond the injury. The injured person wasn't the one who's hurt. They were still the one who carved, who taught, who watched the children. Function preserved psychology. Psychology enabled healing. They understood empirically what modern pain research confirms. Meaning reduces suffering more effectively than medication. Purpose creates pain tolerance. Not through toughness, but through cognitive override. When the task matters more than the sensation loses priority. Today we treat pain as a problem to be eliminated immediately. We rest completely. We isolate the injured. We outsource recovery to specialists and pharmaceuticals. This works. In environments with hospitals, pain medication, and the luxury of weeks without productivity. Remove those, and the modern approach fails catastrophically. We've lost the ability to function through injury. A sprained ankle means complete immobility. A pulled muscle means days of rest. We've optimized for perfect healing conditions, creating total fragility in imperfect ones. Vikings healed slower in absolute terms, but they maintained function throughout. We heal faster, then collapse completely when medical infrastructure disappears. The modern body isn't weaker. The modern system is. The Viking lesson isn't to refuse medical care. It's to build systems that don't require it for basic function. Controlled movement during injury prevents atrophy. Maintaining circulation through low-intensity activity accelerates healing. Social integration during recovery preserves psychological stability. These principles work regardless of available technology. Modern medicine enhances outcomes. It shouldn't replace fundamental resilience. Train movement patterns that work around injury, not just in perfect health. Build routines that assume periodic damage, not constant optimization. Understand that healing is a process the body executes. Your job is to not interfere with it while maintaining the baseline functions that keep you alive. Vikings didn't heal better. They failed less catastrophically. The Vikings didn't survive injuries because they were tougher. They survived because they built systems that worked when comfort wasn't an option. This channel studies those systems, not for mythology, not for inspiration, for methods that function when everything else fails. If that's worth understanding, stay.